Q&E. I'm Emily.
And I'm Quaneshia. You have questions?
We've got explanations. Today, we're learning about the Incas from South America, and we have some questions from our audience members here today. We would like to take our first question.
Oh my god, I can't believe I'm on the show. I'm so happy. I'm just kidding. I'm here for the Incas. Anyways, so what are the common people like?
Well, the common people, they were usually organized into groups. Each group was like a family unit. In each unit there was around 10 to 20 people, and they're usually called the alu. Within each alu, each person had to do a specific job. And common people usually had zero freedom. They could not own or run their own business, and they could not own luxury goods. The only items common people could have in their homes were things they needed to do their job, and they could not travel on the roads.
Okay, well now we had our first question answered. Let's go to our next audience member for our second question.
Love the show, you guys. I have a question. What was their education like?
Okay, well, the Incas were actually very smart people. The children were not generally educated, the children of the common people, but when they were old enough, each child would be assigned a job to do, and that was their job for life. The only training they would receive would be related to their job, so that would be like, I don't know, you can do multiple things, like you can be like Tyra and be a supermodel, and then be a host of a TV show, and then have the bio campaign, and then like, you know what I mean, like stuff like that. You can't do that with the Incas, because they don't want you to do that, because you have one job for life. Anyways, yeah, and that's basically their education, and
That was an excellent question Emily just answered. Can we go on to our third question?
I was wondering about their marriages.
Well, everyone was required to get married, and if an Incan man was not to be married by the age of 20, a wife would be chosen for him. So kind of like an arranged marriage. Also, royal Incans, they usually had many wives, and commoners usually only had one. And if you're wondering about like their families, they usually had babies, and when the babies were born, they would tightly bind the arms close to the baby's body for 3 months, and because they believed binding them made the baby stronger. And the babies were rarely held. They weren't really touched except for when cleaning them or when feeding them, and they're left in cradle all day alone. And this neglection caused babies to die at young ages.
damn, that's horrible. I never do that to my kids. What else is there? Okay, we're sorry for that slip up there. We're having some technical difficulties here. Anyways, we're going to go on to our next question because we have some more interesting facts about these Incan people. So, yeah, stay tuned.
So, I kind of work behind the sets, and I'm not stalking you, but I mean, I just love your show. And I was just wondering, like, what are the jobs like? I mean, because, like, I work here and stuff. I mean, what are the jobs like back then?
Oh, okay, I don't think it really matters. Anyways, we don't really like when the same people... Okay, whatever, I'm letting it go. Okay. Anyways, the jobs for the common people, some did escape life on the farms, and chosen women, the most beautiful 10-year-old girls of each Elu, were selected to become chosen women. They lived in the temples, they were taught domestic arts, they studied religion. After a few years, they were assigned jobs in the homes of the wealthy, perhaps even the home of the emperor himself. Some were sacrificed to the gods, and buried on mountain peaks, because we like stuff like that. And the other, also herders, they herd llamas and alpacas. And craftsmen, they made necklaces for the rich of gold and pearls. And also their pottery was made by hand. Very creative people. We had weavers. Weavers made blankets, rope, clothing, baskets, and thick twisted rope cable for the suspension bridges. I mean, can you imagine back then they had suspension bridges and Ouija now? That's fascinating, Quaneshia.
Yeah.
And sorcerers, ooh, my favorite. They were not priests, but they were locally powerful because they could cast spells and omens and help or hinder you in your goals through the use of magic. So that's really remarkable. That's really something.
Magic.
That's something. She's something. So yeah, thank you for that question, crazy stalker. Thank you.
Hi, it's me again. I was looking online and I saw a lot of Incans wearing gold. Is there something wrong with the royalty or something?
That was an amazing question again from one of our audience members. The royalty was like pharaohs of Egypt, like kind of equivalent to that. Incas were seen as all-powerful emperors, and they were called the Sefa Inca. And they ruled everything and owned everything. Inca were not just a ruler. The Incas also believed in direct descendant of the sun god, Inti. Yes, they did have servants, and the servants did carry the emperor everywhere he went, like you see in movies. And he was served his food on a golden plate. And he drank out of gold cups. His palace basically inside was gold, and that showed that he was royalty. When the Inca left the palace, women and children colorfully dressed in specially made outfits went in front of the golden litter. They swept and threw flowers and played music at the emperor's feet. And as mentioned earlier, he did have many wives because he was not a common person. And he had as many as 100 children.
Wow, and that really ties in, just the emperor having so many wives and drinking out of gold cups and everything, really ties into the Incas' religious beliefs. And the Incas were known as the children of the sun, and they worshipped gods of nature, the sun god, the god of thunder, moon, rainbows, mountaintops, stars, planets, and just tons of other stuff. And like the ancient Greeks, the Incas believed the gods could intervene to help you. And to avoid problems, they worshipped gods every day. And even the emperors sometimes too were seen as godlike and looked up to and held very highly, thought very highly of. Excuse me. Anyways, yeah, and so yeah, I think that concludes this portion of Q&E. Did you say, or?
Yeah, you did a pretty good job.
One morning, Patrick Kamak, the sun, rose from Lake Titicaca. He was so bright that nothing else could be seen in the sky, so he made the moon and the stars.
I think I'm gonna make the moon and the stars.
Patrick Kamak created the first humans out of stone, but they wouldn't do because they sank too easily and they also knew nothing.
You stupid rocks! You sink too easily.
The sun and the moon had a son and daughter who tried to help people.
Daughter!
Son!
Hi, Dad.
The daughter taught women how to weave and prepare food. The son taught men how to build, plow, and plant.
This is how you farm.
That's how you do it. Wow, amazing.
The son, Manco Capac, and the daughter, Mama Aklo, then married and traveled the world looking for a good area for new settlements. They put one of Pachacamac's golden rods into the ground every time they found a good place to settle.
Over there!
This is a good place.
In Huanacari, the rod they placed sank well below the earth.
It sank below the earth! Oh my goodness!
There they decided to place the first sun temple.
Look at our sun temple.
Sun temple.
They then split up, each taking a group of followers with them.
Let us go.
Manco Capac went north, and Mama Aklo went south. The followers of Mama Aklo made a city in the south called Hurin Cuzco, while the followers of Manco Capac chose to build Hana Cuzco in the north. Since then, Inca cities are always divided between north, south, male, and female.
Once there was a period called the Pachacama, when humankind was cruel.
Give me your baby! No!
Barbaric and murderous. Human beings did whatever they pleased without any fear. They were so busy planning wars and stealing that they completely ignored the gods.
You ugly, disgusting baby!
The only part of the world that remained uncorrupted was the high Andes. In the highlands of Peru, there were two shepherd brothers who were of impeccable character.
Amalama.
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 They became very concerned when their llamas acted strangely. The llamas stopped eating and spent their nights gazing sadly up at the stars.
There's something wrong with our llamas.
Yes, there is.
When the brothers asked the llamas what was going on,
What's wrong?
they replied that the stars had told them that a great flood was coming and it would destroy all the creatures on Earth.
A great flood is coming, and it will destroy all the creatures on Earth! There's gonna be a flood!
The two brothers and their families decided to seek safety in the caves in the highest mountain. They took their flocks with them into a cave, and then it began to rain.
Let's take our families and our llamas into the caves to hide.
It rained for months without end. Looking down from the mountains, they saw the llamas were right. The entire world was being destroyed. They could hear the cries of miserable, dying humans below. Miraculously, the mountain grew taller and taller as the water rose. Even so, the waters began to lap the door of their caves. Then the mountain grew still higher. One day, they saw the rain had ceased, and that the waters were subsiding. Inti, the sun god, appeared once again and smiled, causing the water to evaporate. Just as their provisions were running out, the brothers looked down to see and the earth was dry.
Hey, the rain stopped!
Yes.
The mountain then returned to its normal size. The shepherds and their families repopulated the earth. That is why humans live everywhere.
How you doing?
Llamas, however, remember the flood, and for this reason live only in highlands.
I'm afraid to go down there.
I'm not going down there.
1832, the Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro led 183 cold and hungry soldiers up to the Pine of the Andes and began his conquest of the Incan Empire.
Let's go pillage some native people!
I'm so cold and hungry!
The civil war caused in the Incan Empire caused the army to weaken, allowing the Spaniards to easily capture the newly appointed emperor at his capital city of Cajamarca. With Atahualpa as their hostage, the Spaniards began sacking the city, stripping sacred religious objects from the temples of the sun and moon. With Atahualpa seeing the Spaniards valued gold and silver so highly, he made an offer. In exchange for his freedom, the emperor promised to fill his massive prison cell with gold and silver.
I could fill your prison cell with gold and silver if you let me go.
That works with me.
Pizarro agreed to the bargain, and for the next 3 months the treasure steamed in as promised, with Pizarro melting down it for Ignace to transport back to Spain. The ransom continued to pour in, but the Incan people were growing restless. Pizarro, sensing the uprising, decided to execute the emperor, and he was burned at the stake. Ruminui, learning that Aqua's murder, was carrying the ransom needed for his freedom, and decided to hide it upon hearing it.
And he'd hide this treasure.
Ruminui continued to fight against the Spanish, and though he was eventually captured and tortured, he never revealed the location of the treasure.
Tell me where the treasure is! Never!
Over the next 4 years, the Incan Empire was decimated, people enslaved, and the treasure of Atlantis was all but forgotten.